Hello friends, today we are going to embark on a fascinating journey through the largest cities of Ukraine. It will be a spectacular expedition where we'll discover all the greatness and diversity that lies in the 35 largest cities of our unbreakable country, which fights for its right to exist every day, protecting the entire civilized world. Due to the active hostilities currently taking place in Ukraine, keeping accurate records of population has become an extremely difficult task. Therefore, the data on the number of residents of cities that we will use in our video are based on official Ukrainian statistics as of the beginning of 2022. Don't forget to share your impressions and favorite facts in the comments, and join us on our Telegram channel, where we publish relevant news and other stuff about Ukraine. The link to the channel is in the description below the video. So let's get it started. The 35th largest city in Ukraine is Kerch, which is located in Crimea in the south of Ukraine between the Black and Azov Seas. Since 2014, the city has been temporarily occupied by the Russian Federation. According to the latest official Ukrainian data, the city's population is 144,000 people. The city of Kerch is the oldest continuously inhabited settlement in Crimea, Ukraine, and all of Eastern Europe north of the Danube. Its history goes back 26 centuries. Once upon a time, it was the capital of the Bosporus kingdom, the Greek city of Ponticapaion. It makes Kerch a mecca for archaeologists, as there is no other area in Ukraine so rich in ancient archaeological sites. Kerch has mining, metallurgical and shipbuilding enterprises. However, it was fishing that played the most important role in its life throughout the city's history. In early 2014, during Euromaidan, anti-Ukrainian rallies organized by Russia's special services took place in Kerch, and in February the aggressor began to seize the Crimean Peninsula. Before the war, most people associated Kerch mainly with seaside resorts and recreation. Now it's associated with Russian military bases and the Crimean Bridge, which is constantly suffering from Ukrainian attacks and will sooner or later fall. We believe that soon the Ukrainian flag will fly over Kerch again and peaceful life will return. Number 34. Melitopol. Melitopol is a city located in the south of Ukraine, in the Zaporizhzhia Oblast. It was founded in 1784. Since March 2022, it has also been occupied by Russia. Melitopol is one of the industrial centers of Priazovia. Thanks to its historical heritage, economic and geographical location, the city has developed the machine building, light and food industries. Melitopol is one of the most important transportation hubs in southern Ukraine. Two international highways cross here. In addition, the city is unofficially called the Gate of Crimea, because it's a transit railroad point to the peninsula, which is currently of great military importance in the context of Ukraine's counteroffensive. There are not many cities in Ukraine that have their own personal brand, known throughout the country and sometimes abroad. Melitopol is one of them. The main brand of the city is sweet cherries. Of the 80,000 tons of sweet cherries produced annually in Ukraine before the war, about 25% came from Melitopol. Since the beginning of the war, a guerrilla movement formed by the local population has been operating in the city and its surroundings. The guerrillas are engaged in disrupting logistics, eliminating collaborators and Russian officers. They actively cooperate with Ukrainian intelligence, reminding the Russian occupiers that Melitopol is a Ukrainian city. Number 33. Kramatorsk. Kramatorsk is located in Donetsk Oblast. It was founded in 1868 due to the opening of a railway station here. Thanks to industrial development, the city became an important center for coal mining and metallurgy in the region. This influenced the economic and social development of not only the city but the entire Donetsk Oblast. Kramatorsk has become a symbol of heavy industry and a significant player on the economic map of Ukraine. Despite the covert and overt Russian invasion since 2014, the city has continued to develop its industry, attracting new technologies and innovations. In October 2014, after the occupation of Donetsk, Kramatorsk became the temporary administrative center of the Donetsk Oblast, the headquarters of the Ukrainian joint forces in Donbass and a frontline city. Since February 24, 2022, Kramatorsk has been under massive shelling. Local factories, schools and residential buildings have been damaged. As a result, the work of industrial enterprises was stopped, and most of the city's residents were forced to flee from the Russians. Despite this, Kramatorsk is standing, fighting, and giving a worse response to the enemy. The battle for Donbass is ongoing. For the occupiers, it will never become theirs. Number 32. Bila Tserkva. Bila Tserkva is a significant economic, cultural and educational center of the Kyiv Oblast, located 80 kilometers south of Kyiv on the Rus River. The city was founded in 1032 by Kievan Prince Yaroslav the Wise during the times of Kievan Rus. Bila Tserkva is the largest city in the Kyiv Oblast. Yes, Kyiv is not administratively part of it. The city's economy is represented by a powerful industrial complex consisting of 57 enterprises of various industries and activities. The leading sectors of the city's economy are the chemical and petrochemical industries. Recently, those who are tired of the big city atmosphere in Kyiv have found refuge in the city. This trend began in the days of COVID-19, and it has only intensified with the outbreak of a full-scale war. The main attraction of the city is the Alexandria Arboretum, which is located on the outskirts of Bila Tserkva. This place attracts much more tourists than all the other historical sites of Bila Tserkva combined. Overall, Bila Tserkva is a very cozy city. Its proximity to Kyiv, convention, transportation, developed infrastructure, and natural conditions make the city very attractive. Number 31. Lutsk. Lutsk is the oblast center in northwest Ukraine. The city is located 150 kilometers from the borders with Poland and Belarus. The city was founded by Prince Volodymyr the Great of Kyiv in 988. Its good location at the intersection of trade routes to Western and Baltic countries contributed to the development of the city and turned it into an important economic center. Lutsk is a compact city that has preserved its history but does not forget to modernize. It combines a medieval atmosphere with the rhythm of a modern European city. To learn more about Lutsk, just pick up a 200 hryvnia banknote. The reverse of the banknote features the most famous landmark of Lutsk, Lyubard's castle. It's one of the largest, oldest and best preserved castles in Ukraine. The castle is a symbol and the oldest building in Lutsk. Another feature of the city is that it has one of the longest residential buildings in Europe. The construction of this building began in 1969. The construction lasted 11 years. As a result, taking into account the branches, the length of the building is 2,775 meters. The building consists of 40 houses with a height of 9 floors connected in the form of the honeycomb. During the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Russian troops periodically launched rocket attacks on Lutsk. Also, this did not prevent the city from becoming one of the largest hubs for internally displaced persons from the southern and eastern regions of Ukraine. In the first months of the war, approximately 68,000 people arrived in the city. Number 30. Kremenchuk. Kremenchuk is a major industrial center in central Ukraine and the second largest city in Poltava Oblast. Kremenchuk's industry plays an important role in the development of the Ukrainian economy. The industrial potential includes 89 large enterprises employing more 39,000 people. In particular, the Kremenchuk automobile plant is one of the most important plants in the city and is a symbol of its industrial power. This plant produces trucks that are used all over the world. However, there is another side of the coin. The amount of pollutants emitted into the atmosphere in Kremenchuk is the highest among the settlements of the Poltava Oblast. 97% of all industrial and household waste in the region is generated in Kremenchuk. Kremenchuk is the center of an agglomeration of about 500,000 people. Many people from the surrounding villages, towns and cities work and study in Kremenchuk. During the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the city was shelled several times by the Russian army. On June 27th, Russian troops launched a missile attack on the Amstor shopping center, which led to massive civilian death. Number 29. Kropyvnytskyi. Kropyvnytskyi is a city in central Ukraine, the administrative center of Kirovograd Oblast. It was founded in 1754 due to the construction of a fortress on its territory. There are more than 70 enterprises in Kropyvnytskyi, and the oblast is a leader in sunflower cultivation. Even now, during the full-scale war, 3,500 farms in the Kirovograd Oblast have harvested 1,300,000 tons of sunflower. In 2016, Kirovograd was renamed Kropyvnytskyi in honor of prominent Ukrainian playwright, actor and director Mark Kropyvnytskyi. This was done as part of the decommunization of Ukraine. There are 10 museums, 5 theaters and 2 philharmonic societies in Kropyvnytskyi. The city is considered to be the birthplace of Ukrainian professional theater, as the first Ukrainian performance under the direction of Mark Kropyvnytskyi, whose name the city now bears, took place here on October 27, 1882. With the start of the full-scale invasion, Kropyvnytskyi is subjected to rocket attacks by the Russian army. Air alerts sound almost daily in the city. Number 28. Ternopil. Ternopil is one of the 3 main centers of the historical and geographical region of Galicia in western Ukraine. The city is a major transportation hub in the country, with important highways and railways intersecting here. The city was founded in 1540. Ternopil has a special charm and many attractions. It's the only city in Ukraine with an artificial pond right in the center, which is the main place for recreation for residents and visitors. Ternopil is one of the few regional centers that leads a relatively peaceful life. There have been a couple of attacks during the full-scale war. Fortunately, there were no casualties. During the Second World War, Ternopil was almost destroyed and lost most of its historical heritage. Also, the Ternopil Oblast itself is in first place in Ukraine by the number of castles. There are 34 of them here. In addition, this region is unique in that it's home to the world's longest gypsum cave, the Optimistichny cave. The total map length of the passages is more than 267 kilometers. The cave has not been fully explored. It covers an area of about 2 square kilometers due to the number and widening of the passages. The passages lie at the depth of about 18 meters from the surface. It's listed in the Guinness Book of Records as the world's longest gypsum cave, the longest cave in Europe and the 6th longest cave in the world. So if you are in Ternopil, be sure to visit the cave. Number 27. Kamianske. Kamianske is a city of regional significance in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, the 3rd largest after Dnipro and Kryvyi Rih. It was founded in 1750. Kamianske is one of the largest industrial centers in the region. The city has 47 large industrial enterprises. The structure of industrial production in the city is dominated by metallurgy and metal processing. The city is among the leaders in the production of metallurgical products, producing about 9.6% of Ukrainian iron, 15.9% of steel, and 9.1% of rolled products. Therefore, given all of the above, Kamianske has all the problems that are usually inherent in any large industrial center. The environmental situation in Kamianske is quite poor. The city is one of the 10 cities in Ukraine with the highest number of harmful emissions. However, the city also has some interesting architecture. For example, St. Nicholas Church in Kamianske is the most beautiful Roman Catholic church in the entire southeast of Ukraine. You would not expect to see a beautiful example of neo-Gothic architecture in the heart of this industrial region. Today it has been restored and is in excellent condition. As you can see, Kamianske is a city of contrasts, so don't rush to label it a grey city right away. By the way, Kamianske is one of the few cities on this list that has not been hit by Russian missile strikes. We hope it will remain so in the future. Number 26. Ivano-Frankivsk. Ivano-Frankivsk is the largest city in Prikarpatia and the administrative center of the oblast of the same name. It used to be called Stanislav. This is the old name of the city, which it bore from 1662 until 1962. Then the city was named after Ivan Franko, a great Ukrainian writer. Ivano-Frankivsk is a small and compact city. Because of its proximity to the mountains, Ivano-Frankivsk is nicknamed the Eastern Gate of the Carpathians. In just 2 hours from Frankivsk, you can reach the highest point of Ukraine, Mount Goverla. The city is often ranked the highest in various city rankings in Ukraine. For example, in 2020, Ivano-Frankivsk was ranked first in the ranking of the best city for doing business in Ukraine by Forbes Ukraine, and first place in the ranking of convenience for IT professionals according to Dow. The city has been actively developing for a decade and a half, holding the leading position in terms of housing delivery per capita. And with the onset of full-scale Russian aggression, this figure has grown even more due to internal migration due to the war. Although the shelling of Ivano-Frankivsk began on the first day of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and continues periodically now, this does not prevent the city from living a relatively peaceful life and developing. Ivano-Frankivsk is a city of economically responsible people implementing cool projects. From pre-lit renovation and innovation center based on an abandoned factory that operates at the intersection of the new economy and urbanism, contemporary art and education, has become a landmark. So, today Ivano-Frankivsk remains a city of creative industries that trigger positive changes in the social sphere. Number 25. Horlivka. Horlivka is a city in Ukraine, Donetsk Oblast, occupied by the Russian Federation since 2014. It was founded in 1779. Horlivka was once a major industrial center of Donbass. For 10 years now, Horlivka has been under Russian occupation, and during this time the city has returned to the Middle Ages. The city claimed to be a regional center, and in 1979, 337,000 people lived in the city. After the collapse of the USSR, the city's population began to decline rapidly. Many factories closed, people lost their jobs and were forced to go to where they had them. Also, an important factor was the environment, which provoked a high mortality rate. It outpaced the birth rate by 1.2 times. And Horlivka became one of the set leaders in Ukraine in terms of the number of cancer cases. In April 2014, the so-called Russian Wall came to Horlivka. Over the 10 years of the Russian Wall's rule, the number of Horlivka residents has decreased by at least half, and now there are even fewer of them due to deportation and forced mobilization of men. We want to believe that peaceful Ukrainian life will return to Horlivka one day. Number 24. Rivne. Rivne is the administrative center in northwest Ukraine. The first mention of the city dates back to 1283. Rivne is a cozy city with many attractions, cafes and restaurants. Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, it has been shelled several times by Russia. But like many other cities in western Ukraine, it's also on the list of relatively safe cities. Rivne is considered the amber capital of Ukraine. The Rivne Oblast is home to a unique deposit of amber, which is especially valued by jewelers. The city itself is home to Ukraine's only amber museum. 24 kilometers from Rivne is one of the most romantic places in the world, the Tunnel of Love, which is a place of pilgrimage for lovers. The Green Tunnel in the forest was formed due to the movement of shunting trains. In 2014, the Green Arch near Rivne suddenly attracted the attention of a Japanese director who was looking for a romantic natural location for his new movie. But he decided to stop in Ukraine. Akiyoshi Imazaki came to this place with his film crew and shot a full-length lyrical drama there. So, when you are in Rivne, be sure to visit this cool place. Number 23. Sumy. Sumy is located in northeastern Ukraine on the Psel River, about 350 kilometers from Kiev and 22 kilometers from the Ukrainian-Russian border. Sumy was founded by Cossack settlers in 1655. Once a small provincial city, its industrial and cultural development is largely due to the activities of the Khoroton and Kossuga dynasty. Thanks to their generosity, the provincial town got a railroad, a theological seminary, a theater, churches, hospital, gymnasiums, and more. From that moment on, Sumy became a full-fledged regional center. Sumy is an important economic center of the region. The city has developed food, chemical and machine-building industries. The tourist potential of Sumy is enormous. To see this, you just need to take a walk in the city center. Most of the buildings were built in the 9th century, and the city's huge cathedrals, the Transfiguration and Trinity cathedrals, are the real jewels. On February 24, 2022, during Russian invasion of Ukraine, Sumy was attacked by Russian troops, and the battle for Sumy began. During almost the entire period of ground combat in the Sumy Oblast, Russian troops were near Sumy, shelling the city and trying to surround it. However, the Russians failed to occupy the city. On April 8, Russian troops retreated from the oblast. Number 22. Zhytomyr. Zhytomyr is a city in northwestern Ukraine, located on the Ternopil River, the administrative center. Zhytomyr is one of the oldest cities in Ukraine. The year of its foundation is considered to be 884. Zhytomyr is an important transport hub. Today the city is an economic, scientific and technical center of the region. About 100 large enterprises, mainly in the light processing and food industries, are located in and around the city. In particular, more than 50% of Ukraine's ice cream is produced in Zhytomyr and the oblast. In addition, Zhytomyr is a city of bridges. There are as many as 15 bridges here. The city is also home to Ukraine's only museum of astronautics. This is because Zhytomyr is the birthplace of the famous spacecraft designer Sergei Korolev. Under his leadership, the first intercontinental ballistic missile, the first artificial Earth satellite, and the first human spaceflight were launched. With the beginning of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Zhytomyr began to suffer from missile attacks. The airport, schools, residential buildings, and other infrastructure and civilian objects were shelled. In addition, part of the region was occupied by the Russians for a month and a half until the Ukrainian armed forces drove them out. Number 21. Chernivtsi. The city of Chernivtsi is the center of the Ukraine's smallest oblast, a charming city, and an administrative center in western Ukraine near the border with Romania. Since 2022, it has also been considered one of the safest places in Ukraine. Over its 600-year history, Chernivtsi has been part of several states, because the city is multinational, with Romanians, Moldovans, Jews and Germans living here, but Ukrainians have always prevailed in this area. Chernivtsi is one of the few cities in Ukraine that is rightfully considered a pearl of architecture. There are 706 architectural monuments on the state register in the historic part of the capital of Bukovina, 20 of which are of national importance. The historical buildings of the old town are an integral, almost intact ensemble of the 19th early 20th centuries. The ensemble of the former residence of the metropolitans of Bukovina and Dalmatia, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is considered to be the architectural gem of Chernivtsi. Today it's the main building of the Chernivtsi National University. The city's location near the Carpathian Mountains also provides opportunities to enjoy the natural wealth and actively relax in your free time. Overall, Chernivtsi is a city of contrasts, a city with a European face, a Ukrainian soul. Number 20. Cherkasy. Cherkasy is the youngest administrative center located in the heart of Ukraine. It has been known since the 13th century. The city is located on the high right bank of the main river of Ukraine, Dnipro. One of the interesting mysteries about the city is the origin of its name. The toponym Cherkasy was used to refer to the Ukrainian Cossacks, and later it was often used to refer to the population of Ukraine in general. The city's economic specialization is determined by the chemical, machine building, light and food industries. Cherkasy has large enterprises such as the Azot chemical plant, which produces mineral fertilizers. The Bogdan plant was also opened here, where cars and buses are assembled. The Dnipro beaches at the Kremenchuk reservoir are a traditional vacation spot for Cherkasy residents and visitors. The reservoir's coastline stretches for more than 15 kilometers within the city limits. With the beginning of the Russian invasion in 2022, the city fortunately did not find itself on the front line, but was hit by cruise missiles from the Russian army. In the first month of the war, about 70,000 internally displaced persons temporarily moved to Cherkasy because of the fighting. Number 19. Khmelnytskyi. Khmelnytskyi is a city in western Ukraine, the administrative center. The city is located on the banks of the southern Buk River. The first mention of the city appeared in 1431. Khmelnytskyi has had several names throughout its history. Until 1954, the city was known as Ploskiriv and Proskuriv. The city got its current name in honor of the famous Hetman of Ukraine, leader and participant in the liberation struggle of Ukrainian people, Bogdan Khmelnytskyi. The city impresses with its coziness rather than its ancient architecture or famous monuments. In 2020, Khmelnytskyi took the honorable first place in the ranking of the Ukrainian cities in terms of living comfort, and before that it was in top 5. Khmelnytskyi is known throughout Ukraine as a city of trade. The fact is that it's here that one of the largest markets in Eastern Europe, the Khmelnytskyi Closet Market, is located. People come here not only from all over Ukraine, but also from Poland, Moldova and other neighboring countries. The market is known for its large size and low prices. In general, Khmelnytskyi enterprises produce a lot of Ukraine's industrial products. The region has favorable conditions for industrial development, sufficient labor resources, non-metallic minerals and agricultural raw materials. During the war, a large number of internally displaced persons from the regions of active hostilities moved to the city, up to 40,000 people. The city itself is also considered relatively safe, although it is also sometimes subject to attacks. Number 18. Kherson. Kherson is the administrative and cultural center of the oblast of the same name. Kherson is a cozy, beautiful and compact city in the south of the country. It has the only seaport in Ukraine on the Dnipro river. The city was founded in 1778. Since the beginning of the March 2022, the city has been under temporary Russian occupation, but on November 11th in the same year, during a counteroffensive, the city was liberated by the armed forces of Ukraine from the Russian occupiers. Before the full-scale war, the industrial complex of Kherson consisted of 11 industries. Among them were the fuel industry, mechanical engineering and metalworking, shipbuilding and others. Watermelon is considered one of the symbols of the Kherson and Kherson region. In peacetime, the sweet berry took a special place in promoting tourism in the region. The Kherson climate and soil make our watermelon special. Watermelons from the Kherson region were transported to almost all cities of Ukraine for sale. Moreover, even watermelons grown in other regions of Ukraine were often called Kherson by sellers, as they became a symbol of taste and quality. It was because of this dishonest marketing that Kherson watermelon producers decided to register the Kherson watermelon as a geographical indication. That is, the watermelon was supposed to become not only a symbol but also an official brand. But the war prevented this from happening. Since the deoccupation, Kherson has been under constant fire from the Russian military. In addition, in the early summer of 2023, part of the city and its surroundings were flooded by the Dnipro river, which was overflowing as a result of the Russian occupiers blowing up the Kakhovka hydroelectric dam. In fact, today Kherson is a frontline city waiting for happy, peaceful times. Number 17. Poltava. Poltava is the administrative center of the Poltava Oblast, which is located in northeastern Ukraine. Its main waterway is the Vorskla River, which is a tributary of the Dnipro. It was founded in 899. Poltava is a city that attracts with its beauty, cozy atmosphere and unique flavor. It's often mentioned in the works of famous Ukrainian poets and writers, including Shevchenko and Gogol. Locals say that Poltava is the literary capital of Ukraine. It's not at all like its million-plus neighbors in terms of the speed and rhythm of life. In Poltava, life is more measured. Poltava is also called the capital of the Ukrainian language. After all, it was here that Ivan Kotlяревsky created the Aeneid, the first work written in the vernacular language. So, Poltava residents can jokingly say when asked where they are from, "I'm from the city where the Ukrainian language was invented." Poltava is not only a cultural center, but also an educational one. There are 12 universities in the city. Not only Ukrainian students but also foreigners study here. Since the beginning of the Russian invasion, Russian troops have been launching sporadic missile attacks in the vicinity of Poltava. Due to the fighting, some educational institutions from the Luhansk and Kharkiv regions were relocated to the city. Poltava is rightfully one of the most prominent centers of Ukrainian national culture. It needs no special introduction and will not leave anyone indifferent who comes here for impressions. Number 16. Chernihiv. Chernihiv is a hero city and the northernmost city of oblast significance in Ukraine. It's located on the banks of the Desna River, not far from Ukraine's border with Belarus and Russia. The city's history goes back more than 1,300 years. During the times of Kievan Rus, it was second only to Kiev in terms of economic development and defense capabilities. The distance to the capital of Ukraine is 141 kilometers. Chernihiv is an important economic center of the region. The city has developed food, chemical and machine building industries. Agriculture and trade are also developed. The city is famous for its monuments from the times of Kievan Rus and the Getmanat. The prominent historian Mikhail Hrushevsky called it Ukrainian Ravenna, comparing it to a city in Italy known for its ancient monuments. The historic center of Chernihiv is a candidate for inclusion in the UNESCO World Heritage List. Chernihiv became a fortress city on the way of Russian troops to Kiev in February 2022. It did not fall under occupation but was heavily damaged by shelling. Traces of bombing are still visible on its streets, and a new cemetery has appeared in one of the parks where victims of Russian aggression were buried. Today, Chernihiv is slowly returning to a peaceful life, and its residents believe that soon it will be possible to dance and enjoy life again on the central alley of their city. Number 15. Makiivka. Makiivka is a mining town, a satellite of Donetsk, and one of the largest settlements in Donbass. It has been occupied by Russia since 2014. Makiivka was founded in 1690 under the name Yasinivka as a Cossack settlement. Since the end of the 19th century, Makiivka has developed primarily as a large mining, industrial and scientific center. Today the city is known for its large mining, including coal and processing enterprises. Makiivka is called Donbass in miniature, because almost all industries present in the Donetsk Oblast are represented in the city. Until 2014, Makiivka accounted for up to 6% of the industrial production of the entire oblast. The city's address system is the most complicated not only in Donbass, but probably in the whole of Ukraine. There are 157 streets with the same name in different parts of the city. 65 streets are repeated 3 times, and 12 streets are repeated 4 times. The identical names in the city's address system appeared after several villages were joined to Makiivka. At the time, the identical names were not noticed. Just like in neighboring Donetsk, but even more distantly in Makiivka, industrial zones give way to wastelands. And right in the center of town, next to residential buildings, you can find dilapidated buildings. As I said, Makiivka has been controlled by Russia since 2014. More than 1,000 pro-Russian activists raised the tricolor and the flag of the so-called Donetsk People's Republic near the city executive committee. The building of the executive committee was surrounded without a fight. Number 14. Simferopol. Simferopol is the capital and one of the largest cities of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea, located on the Zhytomyr River. It has been occupied by Russia since 2014. The official date of the Simferopol's foundation is 1784, but some historians dispute the right of this date to be considered the year of the city's foundation. Since the large city of Aksmedjit, the residence of the Crimean Khalga Sultan, already existed on site of Simferopol. In ancient times, the capital of the city and kingdom, city and Naples, was located on the territory of the modern city. Simferopol is not a resort city. There is no sea or beaches here. However, in its vicinity there are many picturesque places, mountains and caves. The city has a dry steppe climate, characterized by mild and warm winters without frosts and hot summers, which are longer than in central Ukraine. Simferopol is a rather significant economic center. Its leading industries are mechanical engineering, food and light industry. In addition, Simferopol is the most important transportation hub in Crimea. Most of the peninsula's communication with the outside world take place through its administrative center. It's in Simferopol that the longest relay bus line in the world begins, connecting it with the southern coast of Crimea, namely the cities of Alushta and Yalta. The road is 86.5 kilometers long. During the full-scale Russian aggression against Ukraine, Simferopol and its environs have so far been spared serious Ukrainian missiles and drones. This is in contrast to Sevastopol, Feodosia, Jankoy and other settlements of the peninsula, where various kinds of arrivals have been recorded repeatedly. Number 13. Vinnytsia. Vinnytsia is one of the regional centers of Ukraine, located on the southern Buk River in central Ukraine. It's a relatively small but comfortable city that has been recognized as such 6 times. The official year of the city's foundation is 1363 year. Vinnytsia is well groomed, with many parks and alleys for walking. The city has preserved a lot of 19th century architecture. Today Vinnytsia is constantly evolving and gaining more and more European features. This is evident in the architecture and transportation, as well as in the management system and lifestyle. The city is also known for its medical, technical, pedagogical and agricultural universities. The city's main tourist attraction is Europe's largest floating light and music fountain. The vertical jet is 16 meters high and has a frontal span of 140 meters. During the day, the water jets create the effect of harmony and tranquility, and in the evening, a grand show begins at the fountain in Vinnytsia. Various multimedia masterpieces are demonstrated on giant open-air water canvas in front of the large audience. During Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Vinnytsia was also subjected to missile attacks. One of Russia's largest bloody terrorist attacks took place here. On July 14, 2022, Russia launched a missile attack on the central square of Vinnytsia, which resulted in more than 200 people being wounded, with varying degrees of severity, and another 29 people were killed, including 3 children. The attack was carried out by submarines from the Black Sea using caliber missiles. Number 12. Luhansk. The city of Luhansk is the easternmost regional center of Ukraine. Since April 2014, the city has been temporarily under Russian occupation. Luhansk was founded in 1795 after coal and iron ore were discovered in the area. This led to the construction of the Luhansk cannon foundry plant, which became the city's main employer. Life in Luhansk has never been easy. It was an industrial city with a majority of its population working in factories and hazardous industries. In 1991, the USSR collapsed. A significant part of Luhansk residents worked in defense enterprises, and during the crisis of 90s, they found themselves unemployed. In the 21st century, the city began to come to life. More than 80 large industrial enterprises operated in Luhansk. The city was a powerful scientific center and was famous for its universities. Though the development of Luhansk was interrupted by the war, in the spring of 2014, Luhansk became one of the epicenters of the Russian Spring. With the tacit consent of the local authorities, the Russian invaders and their proxies, local traitors, seized power in Luhansk and soon proclaimed the so-called Luhansk People's Republic under the Russian protectorate. Number 11. Sevastopol. Sevastopol is a port city in Ukraine. It's located in the southwest of the Crimean Peninsula, on the coast of numerous bays of the Black Sea. The city has been occupied by Russia since 2014. Sevastopol is currently home to the main naval base of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. In ancient times, the territory on which part of modern Sevastopol was located was occupied by the Greek colony of Chersonesus. Later, under different names, it was part of the Roman and Byzantine empires and the Crimean Khanate. In addition, there is historical evidence that Kievan Prince Volodymyr the Great adopted Christianity here. After that, when he returned to Kiev, he baptized all of Kievan Rus. The ruins of the ancient city of Chersonesus were included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. For a long time, Russian historical scholarship and propaganda outlets presented the slogan "Sevastopol is the city of Russian glory" as an indisputable truth. This was primarily associated with the events of the Crimean War of 1853-1856. However, the Russian Empire fought in this war mainly with Ukrainian hands. Up to 50% of the empire's troops were soldiers, sailors and officers of Ukrainian descent, with Ukrainian sailors making up about 70% of the Black Sea Fleet. Since the beginning of the Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, explosions have been regularly heard in the city, as there is a large concentration of military infrastructure, equipment and special forces in Sevastopol. Sevastopol was the only city in Ukraine before the occupation where the mayor was not elected, but appointed by the President of Ukraine. As the city has a special status under the Constitution of Ukraine, we hope that after the occupation the city will be granted this right and will no longer have any special status. Number 10. Mariupol. Mariupol is a hero city in Ukraine in the south of Donetsk Oblast on the shores of the Azov Sea. It's a major port and industrial center of the country. The city had two large metallurgical plants, Ilyich Iron and Steel Works of Mariupol and Azovstal, whose products accounted for a significant portion of Ukraine's exports. Mariupol's share in the Donetsk Oblast industry is 37.5%, and in Ukraine's about 7%. During the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the city was almost destroyed by the Russian armed forces. According to various sources, between 10,000 and 30,000 civilians were killed. Since May 20, 2022, it has been under occupation. After the defenders of Mariupol laid down their arms on the orders of the Ukrainian military leadership following the battles at Azovstal. Mariupol is a symbol of Ukrainian heroism, steadfastness, and readiness to defend our land to the end, as the city is an organic and integral part of our country. The history of Mariupol began in the 16th century with the arrival of the Ukrainian Cossacks and the establishment of winter quarters there. After, the Ukrainian settlement of Domaha was founded here. Even later, tens of thousands of Crimean Christians, including Greeks, Bulgarians, Armenians and others, were forcibly deported here by the Tsarist government from Crimea. Since Ukraine's independence, Mariupol has combined the roles of a major port and industrial center of the country and a resort. Since the beginning of the Russian armed aggression in Ukraine in 2014, it has become the largest frontline city and the center of the east after the occupation of part of Donbass. Already in 2015, the city was subjected to the horrors of shelling of residential neighborhoods by Russian regular troops, which killed 30 civilians. So, the war has always been breathing down Mariupol's neck during these years. Despite this, it learned to heal its scars. The city developed its transport infrastructure, parks, and municipal services, actively attracted grant funds, and developed a tourist development strategy. Many IDPs from the Ukrainian territories temporarily occupied by Russia chose to live in the city. According to the mayor of Mariupol, the Russian aggressor destroyed 90% of the city's infrastructure, and 40% will not be restored. In Mariupol, Russian aggression has caused one of the largest humanitarian disasters in Europe since the Second World War. We believe that Mariupol will soon return to its native harbor and that the Russian occupiers will be justly punished. Number 9. Mykolaiv. Mykolaiv is another hero city in Ukraine and the administrative center. Mykolaiv is located at the mouth of the Ingul River where it flows into southern Buk, 65 kilometers from the Black Sea. It was founded in 1789. Modern Mykolaiv developed thanks to shipbuilding. Initially it was built as a shipyard, but during the 19th century, Mykolaiv became the center of shipbuilding on the Black Sea. The city was named after the patron saint of sailors, Saint Nicholas. The famous cruiser Moskva was also built here, from which Russians began shelling Ukraine in 2022. However, the one who built the ship also sank it. Now the flagship of the Russian Black Sea Fleet is lying at the bottom of the Black Sea. Mykolaiv has several records of its own. It has the Ingul Bridge, which is now reconstructed and modern. It's the first bridge in Mykolaiv to be built at the confluence of the Ingul and Southern Buk rivers. The bridge is a drawbridge, and its lifting park is the largest in Europe. The Varvarsky Bridge, which came next, was built on the site of the crossing. Today, it's the only bridge in Ukraine with a horizontal drawbridge with a 90-degree turn. In 1821, an observatory was opened in the city. Scientists working here even made their own discoveries. They discovered an asteroid in the solar system number 8141. Of course, they didn't have to think long about the name. Now, somewhere in space is another Mykolaiv. At sea, on land, in space, our Mykolaiv is on the front lines everywhere. Unfortunately, in 2022 another front line was added: the Russian-Ukrainian War. The city of ships has become a real impregnable fortress on the way of Russian invaders from Crimea to the west to Odessa and the center of Ukraine. On March 24, 2022, the heroism and resilience of the residents were recognized by granting Mykolaiv the status of a hero city. Mykolaiv is still mercilessly shelled by Russians. Visiting the city is currently very dangerous. Number 8. Kryvyi Rih. Kryvyi Rih is the largest city among non-oblast centers of Ukraine. In addition, Kryvyi Rih is the longest city in Europe. The linear length of the city is 66.1 kilometers. It's located in Dnipro Oblast in central Ukraine. It was founded in 1775 by Ukrainian Cossacks. The intensive development of the city began in 1881, when iron ore mining was launched. Modern Kryvyi Rih is a large industrial city, the center of the Kryvyi Rih iron ore basin, the most important raw material base for Ukraine's steel industry. The Kryvyi Rih industrial region plays a leading role in Ukraine's economy and is of the strategic importance for the country's economic independence and security. At the beginning of the 21st century, the city's economy accounted for 11% of Ukraine's GDP due to the large role of metallurgy in the economy. The city's industry comprises 87 large enterprises in various sectors: ferrous metallurgy, machine building, building materials, chemicals, printing, woodworking, light industry, food, etc. Due to the presence of ores, as well as the construction of roads based on the rocks from Kryvyi Rih mines, the ground here is often red, and in winter the snow here is also red. There are several very interesting parks in Kryvyi Rih. Cozy modern neighborhoods with shopping and entertainment centers, restaurants and cafes. There is not much old architecture in the city, but Kryvyi Rih attracts tourists not for its architecture at all. It's the largest and most interesting industrial tourism center in Ukraine. And besides, Kryvyi Rih is special because of President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky was born here in 1978, and his parents still live in the city. Number 7. Zaporizhzhia. Zaporizhzhia is the administrative center of the oblast of the same name. It's a city in southeastern Ukraine located on the Dnipro River. It's one of the largest industrial and cultural centers. The city was founded in 1770 as a fortress. The city got its name due to its location behind the granite rocks on the Dnipro River, the rapids. Zaporizhzhia is a city where the Cossack spirit is still felt, despite modern buildings and industrial enterprises. At the end of the 16th century, Zaporizhzhia city, the capital of the Cossack region, was founded in Zaporizhzhia Oblast by Dmytro Vishnevetsky in 1556, when he built a small fortress on Horlivka island at his own expense. This island is the largest on the Dnipro River and is included on the list of the 7 wonders of Ukraine. Its area covers almost 10% of the territory of modern Zaporizhzhia. Today the island is home to the Zaporizhzhia City Historical and Cultural Complex and various museums. Since the beginning of the Russian army's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Horlivka has been closed to visitors. Horlivka is a strategic site, as it's home to 5 bridges crossing over the Dnipro river. In addition to its Cossack history, the city is famous for its developed machine building, ferrous and non-ferrous metallurgy, chemical and construction industries, river port, and important transit railroad hub. Although Zaporizhzhia does not boast many architectural landmarks, its industrial locations also surprise and attract tourists. The Dnipro HPP is the oldest water power plant in Ukraine, and at the time of its construction was the largest in Europe. Since February 24, 2022, during the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the Russian occupiers have been regularly shelling the infrastructure and residential buildings of the city of Zaporizhzhia. The front line is 30 kilometers from the city. Number 6. Lviv. Lviv is a city in Ukraine, the administrative center of the oblast, the national, cultural, educational and scientific center of the country, a major industrial center and transportation hub, and is considered the main center of the historical and cultural region of Galicia and western Ukraine. Lviv is located at 70 kilometers from the Polish border. The city was founded in 1256 by Danilo Halitsky, the king of the Principality of Galicia-Volhynia. Lviv is an original city with an unusual atmosphere and special character. It fascinates every tourist, and for good reason, as the city has the most architectural monuments of any Ukrainian city. The vast majority of them are concentrated in historic center, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Lviv is considered the cultural capital of Ukraine, with rich theatrical, musical and literary heritage. The city is known for its festivals, performances, concerts and literary events that attract thousands of visitors from all over the world. 1 in 5 people in Lviv is a student. In particular, there are about 170,000 students in the city. There are also 26 universities. The city is characterized by the highest rainfall and lowest summer temperatures among all regional centers of Ukraine, which is due to the least continental climate among large cities in Ukraine. Before the start of the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine, embassies and consulates of various countries began to move to Lviv for security reasons, but they returned to the capital only in the summer of 2022. As a result of the hostilities, many people from the eastern part of Ukraine were forced to evacuate to safer regions, including Lviv, where nearly 250,000 people were displaced in the first month of the war. Even though Lviv is located 1,000 kilometers from the front line, the Russian occupiers regularly attack the city with cruise missiles and drones. Number 5. Donetsk. Donetsk is a city in eastern Ukraine, the administrative center of the oblast. Since 2014, it has been under the occupation of Russian troops, who proclaim the city the capital of the quasi-state puppet formation Donetsk People's Republic. Officially, the date of Donetsk foundation is the date of the founding of the village of Yuzivka by Welsh businessman John Hughes in 1869, who built a metallurgical plant on the site. Before the Russian aggression in Donbass, Donetsk was a major industrial and financial center of Ukraine, the mining capital, and the center of the most economically developed region of the country. It was a developed metropolis with high industrial and scientific potential, highly skilled workers and specialists, and a developed infrastructure and production base. About 200 manufacturing enterprises operate in the city. In 2006, construction began one of the largest football stadiums in Europe, the Donbass Arena, where FC Shakhtar started playing its matches after the construction was completed in 2009. In 2012, the city hosted the European Football Championship, and Forbes magazine recognized Donetsk as the best city for doing business in Ukraine. Donetsk is becoming one of the main business centers of the world due to the concentration of leading Ukrainian companies here. Donetsk is currently going through one of the most difficult periods in its history. Fighting is ongoing around the city, as terrorist groups of the Russian army have settled there. For example, near Donetsk, Russia has concentrated about 50,000 troops who are trying to seize most of the region's territory. Russian attacks are currently most intense in the area of Avdiivka, which is located to the north of Donetsk. The occupiers are using Donetsk as a bridgehead and a place of concentration of manpower and equipment, thus exposing the city to the threat of air attacks. Number 4. Dnipro. Dnipro is a leading business, industrial, scientific and cultural center of southeastern Ukraine. The city is a regional center of the Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. It's located on both banks of the main river of Ukraine, whose name it bears. The city was founded on the lands of the Zaporizhzhia siege, which had just been destroyed by the Russian Empire in 1776. Dnipro was and is one of the most important industrial centers of Ukraine. It's here that metallurgy, metalworking and mechanical engineering are particularly developed, making the city a center of the space and defense industries. In fact, up until the early 90s, foreigners were not allowed to enter Dnipro, seeing it as a potential threat to the Soviet Union. Education, culture and art are highly developed in the city. 15 higher educational institutions, 9 theaters, a philharmonic, the House of Organ and Chamber Music, and 39 museums to suit every taste. Dnipro also has a subway, which is jokingly called the paid demo version of the subway, because it's the shortest underground in Europe. The total length of the underground line is only 7.8 kilometers and has 6 stations. Although Dnipro has the smallest metro system, the city is home to the world's largest Jewish cultural and public complex, the Menorah, which opened in 2012. Dnipro is a truly unique city that combines centuries-old Cossack culture, Jewish flavor, and modern metropolis. During the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the city began to suffer from rocket attacks by the Russian army's cruise missiles and is still suffering today. Number 3. Odessa. Odessa is an administrative center in the south of Ukraine, a port city on the northwest coast of the Black Sea and the main industrial, cultural, transport, scientific and resort center of the northern Black Sea region. Odessa is one of the youngest oblast centers in Ukraine. On September 2, 2024, the city will celebrate its 230th birthday. However, since the 14th century, there has been a settlement called Kotzebue and Hadjibe on the site of modern Odessa, which was first part of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania and then the Ottoman Empire. So there are still discussions about the exact age of the city. Odessa is called the Pearl of the Northern Black Sea region and is recommended for everyone who comes to Ukraine. It's one of the largest tourist centers in the country, impressing visitors with its pleasant climate, many attractions, clean beaches, and a special flavor that no other Ukrainian city has. The historic center of Odessa has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 2023. In the central part of the city there is an ensemble of buildings from the late 18th and 19th centuries in the styles of Classicism, Empire, Modernism, etc. And the main decoration is the Odessa Opera House. Under the city there is a large network of underground passages and labyrinths that form one of the world's largest catacombs with a length of approximately 2,500 kilometers. Odessa was built on shell rock, which was quarried in the city. Nowadays, these catacombs are located at quarry sites, which are still not fully explored. Before the revolution in 1917, bandits used to hide there, and during the Second World War, the catacombs served as a shelter for partisans. From the first days of the full-scale war, Odessa residents were preparing to defend their city. Odessa was more fortunate than other southern cities. It was not under occupation like Kherson and was not subjected to such merciless shelling as Mykolaiv. The enemy was always close by. The front line was a few hours away by car. Only after the de-occupation of Kherson, Odessa breathed a little bit of relief. Number 2. Kharkiv. Kharkiv is a hero city in the northeast of Ukraine, an administrative center and one of the most important scientific centers in the country. It was founded by Ukrainian Cossacks in 1654. Despite the large number of plants and factories, Kharkiv is a very green, cozy city with a large number of shopping and entertainment centers, parks, museums, and just beautiful places that children and adults want to visit and spend time in. The modern spirit of Kharkiv was formed at the end of the 19th century with the appearance of the first university. The development of industry led to the opening of a technological institute. Since then, the city has been developing the educational sector. Therefore, today Kharkiv is a progressive city that attracts many students every year. There are more than 40 higher education institutions and 60 research ones. In addition, the city has one of the largest squares in Europe and one of the largest markets in the world, Barabashova Market, which ranks 14th in the ranking of the world's largest markets. In short, Kharkiv is about powerful industry, prestigious education, underground canals, cool establishments, art spaces, festivals, startups and initiative and creative people. During the full-scale Russian invasion, Kharkiv was one of the first cities to wake up to explosions on the morning of February 24, 2022, and continues to be bombed by the occupiers every day. Kharkiv is among the cities most affected by Russia's invasion. Number 1. Kyiv. Kyiv is the capital and largest city of Ukraine. It's located in north-central Ukraine along the Dnipro river. Its population is almost 3 million, making it the 7th most populous city in Europe. In addition, Kyiv is one of the oldest historical centers of Eastern Europe and Christianity, founded in the 5th century. St. Sophia Cathedral and the Kyiv Church Lavra are both UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Kyiv is a symbol of Ukrainian resilience, courage, and unity. Kyiv not only withstood the invading aggression thanks to the heroic efforts of armed forces and defense forces, but also remained the living heart of Ukrainian culture, economy, and technology, even during the war. Known to many as a city of parks, trees, and greenery, Kyiv turns into an emerald ocean of flora in spring and summer. Chestnuts, acacias, and even Japanese cherry trees are in bloom, filling the streets and avenues with floral scents. The Kyiv metro has one of the deepest subway stations in the world, Arsenalna, located 105 meters below street level. The Golden Gate station is recognized by many ratings and publications as one of the 10 most beautiful underground stations in the world. The Golden Gate features more than 18 valuable historical mosaics depicting the history of Ukraine and Kievan Rus. Kyiv streets will always remember the heroism of the participants of the Revolution of Dignity, and everyone who defended or supported the protest movement on Maidan Nezalezhnosti. This significant stage in the modern history of Ukraine finally confirmed our national choice of the European civilization path, our struggle against authoritarianism. Kyiv is incredibly ancient. Kyiv is always young. Kyiv welcomes everyone who comes to it with an open mind. It's a city of designers, programmers, historians, doctors, military, poets, and engineers. It's a home of ancient legends and modern technologies, a symbol of spiritual resilience and courage. Kyiv has survived wars and invasion and flourished again. Kyiv is us, Kyiv is Ukraine. So, now you know how diverse Ukrainian cities are and how many of them have faced Russian aggression. Ukraine is a country with a rich history and culture. From majestic Kyiv to cozy Kerch, each city has its own unique atmosphere and charm. We believe that Ukrainian cities will recover and become even better than they were before the war. That is why we cordially invite you to visit us after the war, so that you can explore our country in more detail. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to our YouTube and Telegram channel to keep up with the latest news from Ukraine.